Welcome back to the Anfield Exchange, and today I just want to make a video just talking about Cody Gakpo. There's a lot of criticism coming in for Gakpo at the minute. I don't really understand it. We saw it earlier on in the window as well, when the transfer window was open and the start of the season. Alexis McAllister were coming in for some criticism on social media, and if we look at McAllister, he's been our best midfielder for the last 2 years. I know Gravenberch was a player that sort of came out of his shell last year, and sort of he's probably took that mantle now. But Alexis McAllister was brilliant for us since he's signed. And for him to get the criticism as well that Cody Gakpo seems to be getting, I don't really understand it. It's almost like some of these accounts, and some of these are big accounts as well, that are coming in for Gakpo. They're trying to make him a scapegoat for what has been effectively the best start of a season under Arne Slot, probably under Jurgen Klopp as well. Certainly since 1920 when we won the Premier League. So, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me. So I'm going to try and divulge and have a look into why potentially Gakpo might be coming in for criticism. I want to start with the why as well to start with. So I think there's a part of it, there could be an element of it where we know we've just had a fantastic transfer window. We've brought in lots of quality players. We've spent a lot of money. Yes, we've let people go as well, and that could be a part of it. But I think it could be because there was... The first point, I think Liverpool were rumoured to be looking to bring in a winger. And I think what that meant probably would have been that Gakpo would have been playing second fiddle. Now, I 100% understand why Liverpool didn't do this, because they wouldn't have wanted to stifle the progress of Rio Ngamoa. 100%, I understand that. Cody Gakpo is good enough to be Liverpool's first choice winger, but I think some people got their hopes up with the links to Rodrigo, if I'm honest. And I think some people wanted Rodrigo to come into the club. I wasn't really sold on that. I would have taken him, but I'm equally fine without him being there. So I think that's the first part, is where some people can be... I don't want to say frustrated, because I don't think you can be frustrated off the back of a window we've just had. But I think some people have got their backs up because we didn't bring in Rodrigo. Leading on to my next point, we didn't bring in Rodrigo, but we sold Luis Diaz. And I think this could be another element of why people are coming in for criticism for Cody Gakpo. Luis Diaz was a brilliant player. It just so happens that the situation landed where Luis Diaz's contract was up in 2 years' time. Liverpool didn't want to renew his contract because he'd have been 30 years old and they'd have probably had to pay big for him. Spend a lot of money on his contract. So Liverpool made the decision. Luis Diaz is free to leave if we get the right offer, or we'll let him walk away for nothing in 2 years' time. I think with the sale of Luis Diaz and seeing the form that he's been in for Bayern Munich, there was no doubting that Luis Diaz was a brilliant, brilliant footballer, and that he probably would have been first choice for Liverpool if he hadn't been sold. But they had to make a decision from a business point of view, and they made that decision. I think they made the right decision. They got a lot of money for Luis Diaz. So I think there's some disgruntled fans as well there looking at what Luis Diaz is doing at Bayern Munich and the fact that Liverpool let him go and didn't sign him to a new contract. Again, I agree with the club. I back the club on that decision. I think they made the right choice. But evidently, it's having an impact on some fans, and Cody Gakpo seems to be getting it in the neck from those fans as well. I think the last thing as well, the last point to take into why people potentially are having their very opinionated on Cody Gakpo is because of the emergence of Rio Ngamoa as well. We know Rio Ngamoa, he looks like he's going to be a future superstar for Liverpool. Again, I think it's too early for him to be our first choice left winger, as good as he is. I think Liverpool are doing the right thing with him, but I think there's also an element of frustration where Liverpool fans also want to see more of Rio Ngamoa, and it's an impatient view. If this is what social media are getting frustrated at, if this is one of the points, it's impatient. You've got to be patient. Look, I made a video a few months back, and I compared Rio Ngamoa's situation to the Michael Owen situation when he came through. And anybody old enough to remember Michael Owen coming through, Michael Owen came through at 18. He had the world at his feet, and he was in every game for Liverpool. And he went on to win a Ballon d'Or. But look how his career went towards the latter stages of his career. Look how it sort of went downhill. He picked up injuries. He relied on his pace. he had muscle injuries over and over again. And by the age of 24, 25, 26, his career was on the way out. And I think Michael Owen even said that. I think he said he had the best years of his career in the early years when he were at Liverpool. We don't want to see that with Rio Ungamoa, so it is good that he's getting managed and he's still getting minutes, but he's not the first name on the team sheet, which again I 100% agree with. Barcelona might find this with Lamine Yamal as well in the future going forward. He's played so many games for a young kid, and there's such a heavy pressure and a heavy reliance on Lamine Yamal to do something on the pitch. He's just been given Lionel Messi's jersey. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of pressure on that kid. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying there is a risk of Lamine Yamal may burn out by the time he's 24, 25. He may also go on and become one of the best players the world's ever seen. But it's a risk for a kid at that age to have so much game time. As much as we as fans want to see these guys play as much as we possibly can. Now I'm going to focus on how Cody Gakpo's played in the sort of start of the season, because for me, I think he was in the first 2 games certainly he was probably one of our better players. I thought he had a good start to the season. He was brilliant. I think one thing he does do so well, his ball retention. He doesn't give the ball away. When that ball comes to him, whether it's coming in at his feet, whether it's in at his chest, in at his head, he has this unbelievable ability to get the ball under control and retain possession of the ball. And I think, yes, he hasn't got the flashy characteristics of your Florian Wirtz and of, say, Trent Alexander-Arnold of last year and Alexander Isak. He's not a flashy player, but he's guaranteed to give you a 7 out of 10 every game. And I think we've had players like that. Jordan Henderson, James Milner were players like that, and they were vital to Liverpool. And I think Cody Gakpo is vital to Liverpool as well. So yeah, he had a good start to the season, a quick start to the season. He got a couple of goals and a couple of assists. Okay, it's quietened down a little bit for him. But I think that is also something to do with the games that we've played. We played a very defensive Arsenal team. We played a very defensive Burnley team. So those games are hard to make an impact in when teams are ultimately trying to play for a draw and trying to just get something out of a game. It's hard to play against these teams and it's hard to create chances. But what I will say about Cody Gakpo is he's very good at what he does. And I'm gonna go into one particular criticism of mine for Cody Gakpo is his predictability. Every time Cody Gakpo gets a ball, I know he's going to cut inside and he's going to try and whip a ball into that far post. And last season, Salah was onto a lot of balls. This season, not so much, but we've also got players in there now like Ekitike, Alexander Isak. I don't think that's something that Cody Gakpo is just doing of his own accord. I think that's something that Arne Slot has asked Cody Gakpo to do because he's so good at it. And what I will say is, even though it's predictable, nobody's been able to stop him yet. This isn't the first season where Cody Gakpo's been doing that. He was doing this last year as well when he was playing out on the wing. He cuts inside, he puts them balls to the back post. I think Luis Diaz didn't do this enough. Luis Diaz wanted to take men on and wanted to try and get into the box. But Cody Gakpo, these balls are dangerous. We scored a lot of goals last season from this kind of setup. And I truly believe that this is something that Arne Slot's asked him to do. The only other slight criticism, which I think will be solved in time, but it could relate to the first point I've just made, is the lack of link-up play with Milos Kerkez. Certainly in the game against Burnley, certainly in the first half, Milos Kerkez played, I think it was about 37 minutes, and Cody Gakpo, despite Milos Kerkez making those overlapping runs, Cody Gakpo seemed to have a reluctance to give him the ball. Then Andy Robertson came on and he started to pass to Andy Robertson. Now that could just be a little thing that I would like to think this is part of the plan from Arne Slot. As I've just said there, Arne Slot, I believe, wants Cody Gakpo to come inside and deliver them balls to the back post. If he's got a runner in Milos Kerkez going past him, then it takes the defender away and it creates that space for him to do that. I actually think this is tactical from Liverpool, and it's not just a predictability thing from Cody Gakpo. I think the difference when Andy Robertson comes onto the pitch is, Andy Robertson hasn't got the legs to overlap Cody Gakpo for the duration of the game. He hasn't got the legs to do it 9-10 times a game. It's just not going to happen. So when Andy Robertson's on the pitch, Cody Gakpo loses that space to cut inside because he's not got anybody taking the defender away. I don't think he's purposely not passing to Kirkes. I think Kirkes is a decoy for Cody Gakpo to cut inside and put that ball to the back post. Like I say, I'm a big fan of Cody Gakpo. I think he's had a quick start to the season where he's got on the score sheet. He's made a few assists. Yeah, he's quietened down a little bit in the last couple of games, but we're 5 games in, and for him to be getting the criticism that he seems to be getting, I just think it's unmerited. It's unwanted. We're top of the league. We've won every game this season. And we're here to support our players. I really don't understand why social media just has this negativity about it, where everybody seems to want to come down on the players. Everybody thinks they know better than everybody else. Cody Gakpo has been a solid player for Liverpool this season. Yes, he's had good games, and yes, he's had not so good games, but he's going to, like I say, he's going to average out at a 7 out of 10 every game, and that is so vital to know that you're going to be getting that from a player when you've already got players who are going to be having the moments and are going to be creating magic. You've got your Florian Wirtz, you've got your Isak, you've got your Mo Salah. You can't have too many of those players in the team. Like I said, for me, I think I think social media certainly, and anybody out there sort of having any negative opinions on not only Cody Gakpo but any of our players, I think you just got to cut the guys some slack. We all know what's happening in the summer with Diogo. He's obviously friends with everybody in the club, and I'm not using that as an excuse for people not to have an opinion. But what I do think is these guys are going through this, and they go to the training ground and they remember the time they spent with Diogo. And for Cody Gakpo to be getting the stick that he's getting, he's got bigger fish, not bigger fish to fry. He's got bigger things on his plate right now than having fans turn on him. I just don't get it. I like Cody Gakpo. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's an essential part of Liverpool. I think he's essential to managing Rio and Gamoa the right way as well, because we know that if Cody Gakpo doesn't play, unless Arne Slot's going to play, Fede Chiesa out on the left, Rio and Gamoa is going to be the replacement for him, and I think you've just got to manage those minutes. So my message to Liverpool fans, and get in the comments, let me know if you think I'm wrong on this, or let me know if you agree with me. My message to Liverpool fans is just cut the guys some cut all the guys some slack, and just enjoy being the Liverpool that we are. Enjoy Arne Slot's tenure, and enjoy being top of the league, because we've won every game. And yes, some of the games haven't been pretty, but we're doing what champions do. We're getting the results, and we're top of the pile. We're top of the pile. We're 5 points clear in the league. We've just won our first game in the Champions League as well. Things are good at the minute at Liverpool, so just cut the guys some slack. Let them get on with what we're doing. Let Arne Slot manage the guys, and just let Liverpool be Liverpool. Let me know in the comments whether you agree. I'll see you on the next one.